Time being 9 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need a motion to approve the agenda. Are there any corrections or changes to the agenda?
I think it looks all right. I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Has everyone read the minutes from last week? A motion to
I'll
approve?
make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our first visitor this morning, or guest I should say, is Mr. Tim Penny from Smith. Good morning.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to present, give you a bit of an update on the work of the foundation here in southern Minnesota. What I'm handing out is
Thank you.
our most recent annual
Thank you.
report. Is that enough?
Yep, we can share.
Our foundation is celebrating 30 years. And
Do you have any
that is
extras that you might want to
evidenced
share with the press?
by- Oh, I'm sorry. I overlooked you. Our foundation has been around for 30 years, and the placard here is sort of a flyer that we developed just to announce some of the milestones over 30 years of investments here in southern Minnesota. Our foundation currently focuses on 3 primary areas of work. We help smaller towns create community funds, so keep that in mind. Your neighboring county, Fillmore, has, I think, 5 community funds that we help to manage, and we'd like to be able to do the same for towns over here in Houston County. The value of this, as evidenced by research done by, what is his name again, Richard Schultz, who wrote a book called Boomtown USA, is that a couple of the keys to small town success are to have, of course, a community bank that invests in the future of its own town, but also community funds where you take local resources and local assets and invest them in things that make a difference for your town going forward. So we really believe at our foundation that helping smaller towns create community funds is a benefit we can bring to the region. And related to that is the farmland retention program that we have established a year ago, which would allow donations of farmland to be made to a local community fund. It would be our intent on behalf of the community fund to continue to rent that farmland, pay the taxes, pay the expenses, but then allow the proceeds each year to go into the community fund budget. They can either put that in an endowment, or they can actually use that annually for programs and services that benefit the community, whether that might be recreational equipment, whether it might be something related to economic development, it may be scholarships, but that would be the decision that will be community funds. So I wanted to start with that because we're really adding 1, 2, sometimes 3 new communities to our family of community funds each year. We're up to 25. Our most recent is St. Charles. Lanesboro is now in the process of talking to us about creating a community fund. So keep that in mind for the communities in your region. It can be helpful. Second area of our work is economic development and business lending. Here again, when I visit with local county and city officials, I remind them that we do have some lending dollars. We do 25 to 30 small business loans every year across the region. Obviously, most of this work is going to be done by your local bank, but we can be a helpful partner with local banks in providing lending assistance for businesses to grow in our smaller communities. Our most recent loan in the county was in Hoka to a New Start daycare center. We do try to prioritize daycares when that need arises within a community. But again, keep us in mind if there's a way we can partner with the local EDA or with a local bank to help a business start up here in your community or a small business grow in your community. Our third area of work is early childhood, and frankly, that's where we've done most of our work in the last few years. Here in Houston County, we did early childhood provider trainings at Four Seasons Center last year. Had a pretty good turnout, and we're going to continue to do those trainings within the 20 county region that we serve. So watch for us to be back around in Houston County doing additional trainings as time goes by. This has two purposes. One, to help these daycare providers or early childhood providers run their business better, but also to get them on a track for kindergarten readiness so that they really understand all that they ought to be doing to get these kids ready for kindergarten. We've also provided, I think, $10,000 worth of books to the local library here in the last fiscal year. And we do have an AmeriCorps person, one that works at the Ridgeway School, which is just outside your county, but I think it serves people within your county, and another at the Montessori in the Crescent. And this is designed to be like a teacher aid to help the neediest kids, the kids with the greatest challenges, get ready for kindergarten. So those are some of the more recent investments. We do have one last project that's pretty much focused on small towns, and that's our paint project. We've got a mural at the school, and the Greenscapes mural that has benefited from that program. I think another mural project preserving our heritage over in, let's see, was that Houston?
Houston, yeah.
Spring Grove. So it's a small project, but it's something that helps to spruce up smaller towns across southern Minnesota. We have fun with that project every year, announcing the paint distribution program, and then celebrating the paint projects that resulted from that. So that's who we are and what we do. We raise about 10% of our budget locally from counties, cities, corporations, banks, and individuals, which means we're bringing $9 into the region for every dollar we raise within the region, and we think that's a good return on investment. And again, this year we're celebrating our 30th anniversary, so if you can make it over to Owatonna for our 30th anniversary luncheon in October, we'd love to see you there. And thank you again for the ongoing support from Houston County.
You guys do wonderful work. I mean, you're just such a great asset to the area. I see lots of ways that you're helping out.
Just keep us in mind in terms of those three areas. We're finishing our new multi-year strategic plan, but we're going to stay largely rooted in these three areas with one addition, and that's we're going to try even harder to get more of our resources focused on the smaller towns in our region.
With this farm program, does the land continue to farm?
Yeah.
Okay.
It will vary from donor to donor. And typically this is going to be something that folks that don't have heirs that would want to inherit the land would want to consider. It may be all or a portion of current farm operation. Our sister foundation, the Southwest Minnesota Foundation, has accepted 3 or 4 donations of land, but on different terms. I think one of them where the next generation is going to farm it for the next number of years, and at that point it becomes a gift. Typically it's going to be more immediate than that. And very often we would expect that if there's a current renter, that renter would continue to have the opportunity to rent that land after the land is donated to the community fund. So we're getting some nibbles on this program right now, and I would expect by year's end we'll have a couple donations, at least based on conversations that we're working on. And most of this is going to be done at the community fund level, because the requests or the expressions of interest that are coming to us are coming through like the chairman of the local community fund in that town.
Okay.
And then they kind of bring that opportunity to us. We help do the legal work. We help set up the arrangements for that donation. And then we manage, basically we manage the community fund on behalf of the community so that they don't have to do any of the headachy stuff, the IRS reporting and all the rest. And we can also manage the land donation and the rental arrangement on behalf of that community fund. It's, for all practical purposes, it's a community fund. We just do all the behind the curtain stuff to help that community maintain that fund and distribute the dollars as they wish.
Right.
Is that
Yes.
a good enough answer?
Yeah.
So again, unless you have a community fund in one of your towns, we can't be helpful with that program.
No.
If there are folks in any of the towns in your county that might have an interest in setting up such a fund, they should reach out to us and we can kind of help them through the steps that they need to take.
Have you presented to the foundations in La Crescent?
Not recently.
Okay.
No. We've worked in La Crescent in the past. We did a bunch of dialogues around the amenities that beneficial to the town. It led to a
Mhm.
community garden and some
Mhm.
other activities over there, which I believe is ongoing.
Yep.
So sometimes we
Mhm.
do something at the front end, and then those projects and activities live on. And that's one of the reasons in our title, Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation, we keep that word initiative, because very often what we do, whether it's business loans or a grant for a community project, is to help get something started with the intent that it would then take on a life of its own and continue in the future.
And the training that you do for that's for daycare providers?
Daycare providers.
Okay, that you go around to each of them?
Yeah, we've done those trainings in, I think, 16 of our 20 counties.
Oh,
And every year, we try to raise money from MARDAC, Bremer, or other foundations to help us expand those trainings in the region. It's my goal over the next few years to create a new endowment fund that will provide permanent funding for those trainings, so that we can just keep
Yeah.
it going. And every few years, we can be back into each of our counties, providing updated training.
Yeah.
It's
I know
real,
there's a need for daycares.
right, and the training they need is so much higher than it used to be.
It's getting that way, especially if you want to qualify for a higher child care assistance subsidy.
Mhm.
I think it's 15% higher if you've taken the training.
Mhm.
And there's a new low-income scholarship program that the state is offering, but that's only available if you're on a 4-star track to
Mhm.
be rated, academically rated. And so the training that we provide is business training as well as that academic or programmatic training, so that we can help our child care providers be as good as they can be.
Good program.
So again, keep this in mind,
Okay.
and
Thank you.
especially if there are economic development opportunities that we can be helpful with here in the county, or if there are any communities that might have an interest in establishing a community fund. We see that as a big piece of our mission in the region, because very often the more vital small towns are those that do have that local community fund
Mhm.
asset to work with.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Are we having highway discussion today?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
No, I don't either.
Okay.
Just what we had last time, I guess.
All right.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
How are you today? Several things on the agenda. Corrections has proposed that, as you know, we have 2 staff members in the Department of Corrections for probation. And that one is full-time and one is part-time, half-time. So it's 1.5 FTE. There's been a request from them, from the department, going through Renee Patterson, who is the supervisor for the state, for the staff from the state. And they've requested that the staff shift 1 day per pay period. And so it's a neutral cost effect, including an analysis of healthcare benefits that has neutral impact. So what I'm asking today is that the board approve the change of FTE for Nancy Welch, Technical Clerk 2, from a 0.5 to a 0.7 FTE. And likewise, approve the change of FTE for Carol Sherburne, Technical Clerk 2, from 1.0 to 0.8 FTE, effective July 25th. The reason I'm asking for the July 25th date is so that right now Nancy Welch is assisting us as a temporary and extension. And we have that search ongoing. In fact, we're interviewing the finalists today. So we will be making a staffing determination there in the very near future. But I want to make sure that we didn't, at this busy time with 4-H, leave extension.
So have we done interviews for extension yet? Position?
Today.
Oh, today. Okay.
Today. They start at 11 o'clock. We're interviewing 5 candidates.
Okay, good.
So that's the request. should either one of these individuals vacate their position, as you know, the county were to have to search for one of the positions, we may revert back to a full-time FTE and a half-time FTE, depending upon, something that we evaluate at that time as to what our needs are. But because that future hire may impact our cost, so we would want to go back to maybe what we had before.
Do we have a motion to approve those changes in FTEs for Nancy Welch and Carol Sherburne?
Also move.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Have you visited with both employees on the change?
Oh, they visited with myself as well as
Okay.
Ms. Patterson. This came from their office to our office.
Okay, thanks.
And she and staff are on the same page with that, so, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners. Next, we are requesting a change of start date for Max Ekabina from today to next Monday, which is the 11th. He is the addition IT support web technician. He asked that we do that as he's finishing up some projects at Gunderson and need a few extra days. And I told him we should be able to accommodate that with your approval.
Do we have a motion to approve the changing the start date for Max Ekabino?
Ekabina?
I'll make a motion to change the start date.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next on the Human Services agenda, we've had quite a season of searches, as it seems like we're here pretty regularly addressing this, and we're very pleased to request the hire of Andrea Dobozinski as a probationary social worker, which is a C41, at step 1 at an hourly rate of $19.56 per hour, effective July 7th, conditional upon successful the results of her background investigation, which we do simultaneously with the hire. It's a abbreviated VCA search. Do you want to make a comment regarding your experience?
Andrea comes with experience with individuals with developmental disabilities as well as mental health. So we're looking forward to her filling that children's mental health position and having some knowledge and being ready to move forward in that area and to fill out that opening that was vacated from somebody moving to CP. So we are looking forward to her starting on Thursday.
Awesome.
As you may know, there are several counties, numerous counties around the state that are searching for social workers. So we feel very pleased that I believe we are still considered an employer of choice for many and are getting very well qualified, experienced people applying for our positions.
Just letting I conducted the second interviews and it went very well.
Do we have a motion to approve Andrea Dobozinski as a probationary social worker?
I'll make that a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And last but not least, actually, I am going to ask that I do the standing. I'm going to ask that the board, if you don't mind, come around from behind the bench because
This is a big deal.
we're asking for you to accept the notice of retirement from Dick Walter and thank him for 31 years of experience. Not experience, you have more experience than that, but 31 years of service to the residents of Houston County and neighboring counties as well. And we're going to get a good picture here. 31 years is a long time. I'm not going to be in it, but I'm just going to guide you to it.
Okay.
And wherever you center stand.
Justin, you should come over this way a little bit. There you go. And we'll see everybody.
of a resignation, but anybody who reaches 30 years plus, I figure.
Absolutely.
We need to pause for a moment.
You know, one of the things I thought about is they say when time flies when you're having fun. And this has been a great run. This is a great county. This is one of the, I've been so privileged to serve this county and serve the taxpayers. I can't hardly think of a place where they didn't allow me to trespass and do my job and everything. There's been places, I've even had a notice put in the paper once about looking for information about the county surveyor moving corners. Look at one ad. But, yeah, it's 31 years, and I think we've come a very, very long way. I mean, I think the technology and everything is so, I mean, if it's used correctly, can do immense amount of help in deciding a lot of things. And I think Houston County is right at that threshold with where we've got enough base map information, which is your section and quarter section corners, to really start generating a really highly accurate parcel map, which, you know, in the long run, I mean, it helps the government out, it helps the landowners out, and I mean, you can get it, you can go down to the city level, lot and block. You can lay them out very accurately and everything, and it helps banks. You know, it's the right thing to do. And we've got all of the surveyors now. We've got 114 control vertical and horizontal control monuments out there, and all of the surveyors are using them. So all of our mapping and all of our surveying is all in the same system, and the surveyors love it because they know when they come to my office to get information, it's all going to be, other than, you know, the maps prior to or the surveys prior to, but they look at them too because that helps them put the puzzle together too. So anyway, I know I showed my passion to Tessa on what I think, and I just think this is a great county and it's a great opportunity. And thank you.
Thank you.
But does anybody want to make a motion to accept his retirement since we haven't done that yet? We could just decide not to do that. Well, let's see, Teresa can't do it.
I'll make the motion to accept his resignation reluctantly.
Second.
Any discussion? Yeah, I don't really think that we should let him go. But we do appreciate everything that you've done to bring the county to where it's at.
Been great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No comment?
Aye.
Teresa should say aye. You gotta
Yeah,
put
but you
up
just
with
care
it.
about the paycheck.
And the last thing on my agenda this morning is a request to approve a competitive search for a 1.0 FTE surveyor.
We've had some discussion, Judy and Tess and I know there's a lot of people out there that I'm sure say, oh, we don't need a county surveyor, you can hire privately and stuff. And we've gone round and round. We talked to and Dan Cheska too in GIS, and there's a lot of projects going on, things that we want to do. We've looked at this from all angles. Dick has obviously expressed his desire to keep this going in his stead, and for the direction that Houston's going and the things that we have planned out and stuff, that's one of the big reasons why we want to continue with the surveyor and keep that going. We've looked at privately, we've had other counties that looked privately, and it just didn't really seem to be cost effective, and I know other counties have had issues going privately and stuff in the past. So Anyway, so that's kind of why the discussion is going up. So I know it'll hit the papers, and I'm sure people will say, oh, you don't need to have that position, whatever. But we've looked at it long and hard and feel it obviously needs to continue on and keep going. So with that being said, I would move to approve the search for a surveyor, a county surveyor.
I second that.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
that's,
Thank you, Dick.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. Appreciate it.
Commissioners, I neglected to point out the effective date of Dick's retirement, August 31st.
Okay.
Not today.
A couple more paychecks.
The honeydew list will have to wait.
All right, could we have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I
Commissioner
did-
Chom-
I did have one bit
Oh.
of discussion on that. Tourism, are they part of our appropriation?
Yes, they are.
Okay, I was pretty sure it was, but I didn't have a chance to look it up. Okay.
Commissioner Chomey, would you like to start commissioner reports?
No, I have no report.
I have no report. Holiday weekend. Happy birthday, America.
Yeah. Nothing, we just had I already talked about it, but we had a personnel committee meeting, we talked about the surveyor's position and stuff like that, so nothing other than that.
I believe I had county, or the department head meeting. And it was interesting, we had MCIT presenting. That was it.
Okay, and that's all that I had
Brief
was
week.
personnel also, and that was all. So we can move on to approve claims, human services, and license center disbursement expenses.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve claims, human services license center disbursements.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Being the first Tuesday of the month, we'll have public comment. If you would like to be acknowledged and then come forward and state your name and where you live. And we can start right now. Who would like to approach the board today? Please come forward.
Frank Van Gorp. I'd like to talk about the proposed ordinance amendment. We all know that when mining starts up next door, there is at least a potential for a takings to occur. The takings might be in the form of reduced property value, reduced quality of life, or perhaps reduced health. The mine basically steals from neighboring property owners. If that mine is not required to obey the ordinances that were put in place to reduce the likelihood of these takings, the chance of the neighbors being victimized increases greatly. An ordinance that is not vigorously and strictly enforced is absolutely worthless. Updates and changes mean nothing without strict enforcement. When there are multiple violations of the ordinances that recur repeatedly over time, there must be consequences. Without the ability of the citizens to force consequences on repeat offenders and the ability to ultimately get the permit revoked, there are no teeth in the ordinance, and it becomes a joke. Let us remember that the chair of the Planning Commission recently went on record saying the county has chosen not to enforce the ordinance for 40 years. A recent zoning administrator was found by investigation to have participated in favoritism and unfair treatment regarding enforcement. Let's stop pretending everything is okay. As long as enforcement of the ordinance is discretionary, the victims have no assurance of justice. This is not a hypothetical issue. There have been many cases in Houston County in recent past where neighbors to a mine were unable to secure justice because the zoning administrator, environmental services director, planning commission, board of adjustment, and board of commissioners all exercise their discretion to not enforce the ordinance. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Please come forward.
Yvonne Krogstad, Caledonia Township. Good morning, Commissioners. Last week, I listened to the update about the county highway shop. I heard very little, if any, downsizing to the plans of that shop. Not only am I opposed to the excess number of restrooms, I'm opposed to the heated storage. How many taxpayers in this county have heated garages for their vehicles? Some might not even have a garage for their vehicle. Is it fair for you to ask the taxpayers to foot the bill for heated storage for the county personnel? I don't think so. County employees are to provide service to the public, not take advantage of them. Think about it. Thank you.
Come forward, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Gretchen Cook, City of La Crescent. A few weeks ago, I brought to your attention there was a violation of the open meeting law. I again bring it to your attention because nothing has changed. There is a video of an open meeting from a few weeks ago, about a month ago now, that was, the audio on it was redacted after it was put up. It was an open meeting that needs to be put back up, and it was taken off by our attorney. He should know the laws, open meeting law. Thank you.
It's back on. It is back on, Ms. Cook.
It wasn't a couple of days ago.
Would anyone else like to approach the board to speak? Anyone else? There being no further comment, is there anything else that needs to come before the board today? Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.